Seafood is an interesting cuisine because restaurants that serve seafood generally tend to be on the fancier, more expensive, upscale side. And meanwhile, the actual act of eating seafood, or at least certain types of it, is basically the most primal way you can possibly eat. Shellfish pretty much requires you to tear creatures that are essentially giant underwater insects limb from limb.
I hate thinking about them like that, but you're right.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Or in the case of oysters, just swallow them whole.
Now, I do like oysters as well. Please don't ruin them. Also, I don't know why, but you starting the show with seafood was just absurd for me for some reason.
It's a seafood story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's understandable that some people aren't too into it, and for some, even the smell of seafood is a deal breaker. But even for people who love seafood, there are limits. For example, even if you love pounding back oysters, which I do, the idea of eating 4 dozen raw oysters on the half shell in one sitting probably sounds a bit nauseating. Nevertheless, recently, through the magic of TikTok, the world found out that this is not always the case.
Yeah.
Some people, that is a line that they will cross.
I'm now convinced that you didn't have COVID and you actually just kicked back 50 to 60 oysters while you're in New Orleans. And you got sick from eating too much raw seafood.
I actually did not have a single oyster.
Oh, okay. Well,
I did have...
My theory goes out the window.
I did have a lot of seafood, but no oysters now you mention it. I did put a lot of terrible things in my body, though.
Yeah. A couple of hurricanes.
Yeah.
A couple of grenades, hand grenades.
Some hush puppies, some beignets. Yeah.
The Cafe Du Monde saw you coming a mile away. They said, this guy's wearing a black shirt and it's about to be covered in white powder.
We got another whale.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's back to the oysters. Here's Rolling Stone.
A woman who slurped down 4 dozen oysters at an Atlanta seafood restaurant and recorded the whole meal for TikTok has sparked new debates about dating etiquette. But the eatery's general manager says it was just business as usual. In the video, which has circulated widely on X, formerly Twitter, and appeared on the massively popular Instagram account The Shade Room, TikTok user @Iguana documents her visit to Fontaine's Oyster House, which she claims serves the best fucking oysters in Atlanta. She explains that she's meeting a man who had been trying to take her out for some time, and once seated, proceeds to order the Tuesday special, a dozen oysters for $15. That is a deal.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Then she gets another round, and another, and another. The whole time, we're treated to close-up shots of Iguana dressing the oysters with lemon juice and Tabasco sauce, then knocking them back. At some point, her companion decides he'd had enough and flees the scene, leaving her to pay the check.
I mean, she was kind of asking for it. Like, in the video, she's just like, this motherfucker keeps messaging me, and like, I'm not interested in him at all, so I'm going to take him up on this date.
Yeah.
And I'm going to order 48 oysters.
Yeah.
And then, he doesn't want to pay for those oysters, and he's the bad guy?
This isn't even a record, though. I think the record's like 100 or 200 or something like that. But those are professional eaters, okay? We're talking about Joey Chestnut level of oyster eaters.
I mean, it's less gross than eating that many hot dogs, I'd say.
Yeah. Look, I'm
At least
sure,
it's...
I like oysters, but I'm sure a lot of people out there
I
do
like
that.
oysters, too. I think the most I've ever had in one sitting was maybe like
I think a
6.
dozen. I've probably had a dozen.
I mean, there's been times where I probably wanted to eat a dozen and I stopped myself because they're expensive. At least here in LA, they're fucking expensive.
Well, we've been to the place in Boston with the oyster bar. It's very nice.
Yeah, that was great.
There's a vast variety of sizes too, because you'll get some that are like little baby things, very good, and then you'll get ones that even I find are gross, where like the shell is like.
The big ones, you gotta cook those. They're actually pretty good if you cook them, and then you spread them.
Our friend Jesse made some.
You spread them on toast, yeah. There's a Mexican seafood, a Marisco's place near me that sells pretty cheap oysters, and they are gigantic and just not good. I made that mistake once. I was like, I think I ordered like 3 oysters. I ate like 1.5. It's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, the actual TikTok is fucking wild. As an oyster lover myself, when the first dozen come out and she starts wolfing them down, I'll admit, my mouth started watering. I was like, hell yeah.
I can taste the ocean right in my own living room.
Eat those oysters.
Yeah.
That looks pretty damn good. And a dozen oysters for $15, that's a hell of a deal.
It is.
They're like $6 a piece here in LA.
Well, you can find deals here too. I'll let you know after
You
the
can
show.
find them, but it's like, with raw seafood, you know, there is a...
Do you really want to cut corners?
There is a balance between, like, you know, cost and quality. But yeah. Then, after that first plate, she just starts stacking those trays. And by the end, she has eaten 48 fucking oysters. And my appetite that I had at the start of the clip, kind of gone.
Yeah,
I am a bit disgusted. I no longer crave those oysters.
Did she at least get a t-shirt or something from the restaurant?
No, because as we will find out, this is actually not as unusual as you might think.
We had to stop making the t-shirts. We were going out of business.
But I admit, I am simply in awe of this very petty, very hungry woman. As for how people reacted to this spectacle, here's the article again. The clip has prompted an almost giddy disbelief across social media, with viewers commenting on the amount of food, the choice to document the shellfish feast, and whether @Iguana left an appropriate tip. I'm sorry, but 48 oysters as an appetizer got me screaming, reads one of the top comments on the TikTok. Parentheses. The oysters were followed by a potato dish and crab cakes.
Oh my! My word!
An ex-user wrote rap lyrics describing the incident. Took her to the seafood spot, shit was straight, then she started murdering oysters, first 48.
Yeah. A good reference to the show.
And while some observers said that they too would abandon a date over this order, one person joked, can't have 4 drinks, can't have 48 oysters, what can a lady have around here?
Then we reach the point in the article where writer Miles Klee does some real journalism and investigates exactly how unusual one person housing 4 dozen oysters actually is. While there was no shortage of opinions on the prospect of demolishing 4 full platters of oysters in front of a person who isn't eating at all.
That's the wildest part, is the guy didn't order
just
any
sitting there looking at
He invited her out for drinks.
Yeah. I just a person staring blankly at someone else devouring
Oh, you're getting
oysters.
another plate, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. A story for a lifetime.
Yeah.
A real gift, honestly.
At $15 a dozen, not
Who
even
cares
that
anymore?
expensive.
Yeah. Fontaine's general manager, Kelsey Flanagan, who was working that night, tells Rolling Stone, it's almost typical for Atlanta. This is nothing new for us, she says. It was just quite funny, Flanagan says. Iguana's gauntlet of seafood didn't exactly break any records for Fontaine's. Quote, I've had 2 ladies order 6 dozen oysters each, she says.
Oh my God.
That's not even the cherry on top. They were drinking White Russian.
Oh.
I didn't know how to personally feel about that.
Ugh.
I was just like, this is insane to me, but okay. She's also seen competitive eaters come in on special nights. Like, I had this one guy that was in an oyster eating competition order 15 dozen, she says. Some people are just built different. And yeah,
that's so many oysters.
It's one thing to be like, there's salt water and these blobs of, whatever, floating around in someone's stomach, but then dumping White Russians on top of it?
Yeah, that's just too much. That is
can I have
foul.
Some dairy with my oysters, please?
Yeah.
Dairy and alcohol.
I can't even explain to you why oysters are good. I feel like they might objectively be bad, but I just like them for some reason.
Yeah, it's like a little shot of salt water and goodness.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever been hit in the face by like a wave in the ocean, it's very unpleasant. But there is 1% of it that's just like...
Well, salt's one of the best ingredients
kind of like, and it captures that 1% that's actually feels kind of good.
Yeah, and I like to take them straight. I don't use the condiments. I don't use the lemon or Tabasco.
I mean, they are good straight, but generally if you go to a place, especially in LA, like the chef has like their own little... It's not just fucking tartar sauce. Yeah. It's they got they got their own little
sometimes
thing.
They have like a little like a vinegar or like kind of a
like a garlic thing.
Yes.
Yeah, those are really
That's
good.
been like fermented or something.
Yes.
It's well, I'm getting hungry just talking.
I'm going to go get a dozen oysters myself after this.
We should go get 48 oysters each.
Stack them. Bring another dozen.
These guys have beaten me out of house and home.
Anyway, so yeah, it turns out that these people, they walk in our midst undetected. There are oyster
just
devourers.
sloshing around.
Yeah. They're, turn to your left and turn to your right. One of those people just ate several dozen oysters.
Yeah.
The next time you're out for seafood, there may be another patron in that very restaurant eating several dozen oysters, all to themselves, unbeknownst to anyone, but the waitstaff.
Yeah.
They're keeping their secret.
Until the applause starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must be their birthday or something.
Yeah.
Nope, just a Tuesday.
Must be one of those food challenges.
Nope, just an average Wednesday afternoon.
48 oysters.
That's a lot.
I have heard a little life hack is if you go down to like Grand Central Market at like 6 o'clock in the morning, you can get them wholesale for about $1 each.
Okay. There's a spot near both of us that does happy hour $1 oysters, but I think
I've
there's a
seen
limit.
that. Yeah, I haven't been to that place yet.
Much
but-
probably like this. It's to get you through the door to drink.
Yeah.
Which works for me because the spell doesn't work on me. I don't drink.
Haha.
So I'll just have the oysters, please.
Yeah, more oysters for you.
Haha.
Anyway, speaking of oysters, they are often on the menu for Sunday brunch, a fourth meal that is especially popular among people in their 20s because it is an excuse to get drunk as fuck at 11 a.m. over a plate of Eggs Benedict. And here's some news about brunch that, like the oyster story, is something you're really only aware of on a wide scale if you work in the service industry as a restaurant server. Otherwise, you're oblivious to it. But it's fucking gross. Here's the San Francisco Gate.
There's a reason we revere brunch. We look forward to unpacking the work week with friends over decadent egg dishes, syrup-laden pancakes, and the requisite mimosa. We give ourselves permission to indulge in extra bacon and maybe even a second champagne cocktail as we reconnect and relax. But nowhere in this happy place do you picture vomit. Yet dealing with patrons who lose their brunch is a reality for Bay Area restaurants offering the popular perk of bottomless mimosas. Particularly since the pandemic, they're finding that diners, often ones in their early to mid-20s, are drinking too much and vomiting in the bathrooms, or even right on their table.
Ugh.
The burden on servers and staff to clean up after these public pukers is reaching a fever pitch, making it necessary for restaurants to take precautions and even implement fees. And if you see a gaggle of white women coming your way,
Oh my God.
watch out!
Yeah, put on your raincoat.
Yeah, they're going to be vomiting all over the place.
Yeah.
The citric acid, enough, is...
And I've never been a fan of the bottomless mimosa, specifically because it is, you can't drink that much fucking orange juice.
No.
Even if there was no champagne in it, it's too much orange juice.
First of all, they're using too much orange juice to offset the actual
they
liquor
water
they're
that
putting-
shit down too.
Secondly, the orange juice that 99% of the restaurants is using is literally like 100% sugar.
Yeah.
It might as well be Sunny D, which ironically makes alcoholic seltzer now as well.
They do.
Arizona iced tea.
The seltzer thing, we need to,
Mr.
Call it.
Biden, press the button.
yeah, shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah. But it's just people just housing citric acid and sugar
Yeah.
and like it's just a little bit of alcohol and being like, it's bottomless, let's get wild.
Woo! Anyway, the article then features a photo of a sign in the Oakland restaurant Kitchen Stories bathroom, which reads, "Dear all mimosa lovers, please drink responsibly and know your limits. A $50 cleaning fee will automatically include in your tab when you throw up in the public areas. Thank you so much for your understanding." Smiley face. And what's interesting is that Kitchen Story and other restaurants featured in the article say that this phenomenon really started during the pandemic once restaurants reopened for business, which is perfectly in line with all of our other observations, all the other evidence about how just a few months of semi-isolation in 2020 turned everyone in this country completely fucking feral.
It is it's crazy to see in all aspects of the public square people not being able to control themselves.
Yeah.
Or
It was a societal reset.
yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway, here's more about a different restaurant facing the same problem.
Home Plate on Lombard Street caters to the brunch-obsessed marina crowd with cheesy bacon tots and chunky corned beef hash. It offers a liter carafe of raspberry, peach, or other flavored bubbly, roughly 4 to 5 pours, depending on the size of the flute, that is poured by a server as part of the service. Owner Tarut Boone and his staff have witnessed their share of Ralphers over the years. In late 2021, when vomiting seemed to become an issue, Boone instituted pretty much the same policy as Kitchen Story, he said. Signs posted around the restaurant and on the menu asked diners to please drink responsibly. $50 cleaning fee per person for any incident incurred as a result of intoxication.
It continues. After customers complained, the signs came down in July, but the policy remains at the bottom of the drink menu. And it has helped, Boone told SF Gate. When Home Plate started serving bottomless mimosas back in 2010, they gave diners 2 hours to enjoy their champagne cocktails and breakfast dishes. They eventually reduced it to 90 minutes, and over the summer took it down to 75 minutes. We had a problem with intoxication, and also we needed to turn tables to serve more customers, he said. It's better, but every other week we get somebody throwing up or vomiting. Now they go outside.
Yeah, this is wild, because when you think about it too, it's just like, they're not just getting bottomless mimosas. They're getting, in a lot of cases, brunch, breakfast, whatever. especially out at a restaurant, one of the unhealthiest meals.
Yeah.
Just the saltiest, like sugar-filled meals you could get on top of mimosas.
Yeah, half that breakfast menu is food that in any other context would be considered dessert.
Yeah, let me get the bottomless mimosas. And like one person's going to get a stack of pancakes and the other person's going to get like corned beef hash.
Yeah.
Hash browns.
Either your sugar levels or your sodium levels are like going through the fucking roof.
Yeah, but this works out perfectly because if done on a Sunday, both people within the relationship can just ignore it because the women, they go to their brunch and they sleep the rest of the day. The men, they go watch the football. Sorry to assign the gender roles. Just in my experience, they cross over and everyone has a great Sunday, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these white women, where anywhere like 3 or more of them are gathered, you want to steer clear.
Especially if they're wearing a sash.
Oh my God.
If it's a bachelorette party or a birthday.
And that's true here, but that is especially true anywhere in Europe because 9 out of 10 times, what's that accent? Oh, they're British.
They're British.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Here comes well, on the other side of things.
They're having a hen do.
Yeah, the other side is the stag do, where, while they're drinking multiple pints.
Yeah, the British are a fucking...
Here's to feeling good all the time.
The British are a scourge upon humanity. Everything bad about Americans came from them.
Yeah.
And they still do it worse, except for the guns.
Yeah.
They did solve that.
And what remains of their public health care system.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They're fixing that. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of COVID-19 and things that make you puke, the bogus health product Miracle Mineral Solution is something we've talked about in the past on this show because it's really the pinnacle of the alternative medicine movement that gained popularity during COVID, with people who loudly and proudly proclaim their distrust in medical science while ingesting whatever weird shit random cranks online tell them to, with sometimes disastrous results. Miracle Mineral Solution, or MMS, has been around since 2006 and has been touted as a cure for everything from HIV to malaria to cancer to autism and everything in between. And it, of course, later caught on with the QAnon and Q-adjacent crowd as a cure for COVID-19. The only problem? This shit is literally bleach.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
It's just bleach.
Even before COVID, this stuff was going around for like miracle cures for
people
things.
Drink it and then they shit out like
stomach
literally
lining.
Their stomach and intestinal lining. They're like, wow, look at all those parasites that were in me.
The toxins have been flushed.
It's bad enough. These people give it to their kids, which is like
horrific,
bad. But yeah, it's specifically chlorine dioxide, which is an industrial bleach, and as you might guess, not good for you. Definitely not a cure for anything except being alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the New York Times with some news about that.
A Florida man and 3 sons who used a business masquerading as a church to sell more than $1 million of a deadly bleach solution that they claimed was a miracle cure for COVID-19 and other diseases were each sentenced on Friday to several years in prison, federal prosecutors in Miami said. Mark Grennan, 66, of Bradenton, Florida.
Yep, these are your neighbors.
And one of his sons, Joseph Grennan, 36, were sentenced to 5 years in prison for conspiring to defraud the government, while the 2 other sons, Jonathan Grennan, 37, and Jordan Grennan, 29, were sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in prison for defrauding the government and contempt of court, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida said in a news release. The Grennans poisoned thousands of people with their bogus miracle cure, which was nothing more than industrial bleach. Michael Homer, an assistant U.S. attorney who prosecuted the case, said in a statement, they targeted vulnerable people who were suffering from life-threatening illnesses and who were desperate for a cure. Prosecutors said that the Food and Drug Administration had received reports of people requiring hospitalizations, developing life-threatening conditions, and dying after drinking the product.
And this is also an indictment of our healthcare system, where a lot of people just literally cannot afford to treat their conditions the right way and go looking for alternatives. And grifters like these fucking assholes, they make millions of dollars off that shit.
I'm convinced that a lot of this has to do with people's apprehension or straight up fear of doctors and bad news. Because the people selling you the miracle cure aren't going to tell you exactly what's wrong with you. They're just going to tell you that they can fix it.
This will fix it for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of medical fear out there, and it's a lot of miseducation, and the fact that they can't get medical care when they actually do need it, or they're not taking care of themselves in a way that would have prevented a disease like that, because with our healthcare system, it actually works against you to be on top of your healthcare needs because it's very expensive.
Yeah. Anyway, what's especially crazy about these guys is that despite being repeatedly told by the FDA to stop marketing and selling this shit, which is literal bleach, they assumed that by making a fake church called the Genesis 2 Church of Healing, whose only purpose is selling MMS, they'd be totally fine legally. No, officer, you don't understand.
Here's my church card.
Church. From the article, prosecutors believe the Grennans created the church entity as a way to skirt government regulations. The church's website described itself as non-religious church, and Mark Grennan had said he founded the church to legalize the use of the dangerous treatment, prosecutors said. That's why a priest can give a kid wine in church publicly and not get arrested, because it's a sacrament, Mark Grennan said in a February 2020 interview with an online news program, according to an affidavit filed in the case, adding, "You can't arrest us from doing one of our sacraments." This kid is drinking as much wine as a white girl during brunch. Please, that's too much blood of Christ. Interesting legal strategy. Rock solid.
And I love that his idea is just like that kids are drinking either entire glasses or bottles of wine and not just like a sip as a traditional thing.
Yeah.
And in most cases, I assume these days, at least when I was a kid and went to church like the 1 or 2 times, it's like grape juice or something.
I mean, in the Catholic Church, it's still wine, but it's literally like 50-50, like Carlo Rossi and water, and it's like half an ounce. Like, no one's going to get fucking drunk off this shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, it continues. In a memorandum in support of pretrial detention, prosecutors said the family in 2020 had threatened to pick up guns and instigate a Waco, alluding to the deadly 1993 siege in Texas by federal authorities of a religious sex compound in response to a judge's order that year to stop selling the solution.
My God-given right to sell bleach to humans for consumption. From my cold, dead hands.
I mean...
Yeah, well, enjoy prison, dipshits. And speaking of conspiracy nut jobs, it's time for yet another update on someone who's been a recurring main character for a while at this point, and somehow hasn't gotten herself put behind bars yet. That's right, come on down. It's the QAnon Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo. She's back at it again with more bullshit, and she's really testing the limits this time around.
Yeah, it's getting a little scary. The Bleach people are talking about Waco, and Romana's kind of heading in a bit of a Waco direction.
Well, here's Vice. Canadian police have set up a mobile temporary detachment in the small town where the so-called QAnon Queen of Canada and her followers have taken over a school. QAnon takes over your school! Sign up now for the cool sweepstakes from Nickelodeon. For almost a month now, Romana Didulo, a QAnon influencer who has convinced her followers that she's the true Queen of Canada, who is waging a secretive war against a cabal of pedophile elites, among a myriad of other esoteric beliefs, has been living in an abandoned school in the tiny Saskatchewan town of Richmond. Along with Didulo is a core group of about 10 or so followers who have given up their lives to travel with her and listen to every demand. And I would assume that they have no choice because they don't have homes anymore because they stopped paying their mortgages and bills.
I mean, it is a brilliant strategy she took of like just actively ruining these people's lives.
So that she's their only hope.
Driving them deeply into debt, making them lose everything.
They have literally nowhere else to go,
Yeah.
so might as well fully commit to the QAnon Queen of Canada.
It's fucking dark. So yeah, great. More Waco vibes. The owner of the school is apparently a member of the Queen's cult, so there's not a whole lot that can be done.
I'm a member of the Queen's cult!
But this quiet town of just 250 people, they really ain't having it. And based on everything we've learned about these people over the last year and a half, you really can't blame them. Do not let them anywhere near your personal RV.
No, they will take it and they will keep it.
Anyways, the story continues. The group is planning on hosting a meet and greet on October 14th, where they will hold a bizarre ritual where followers declare themselves sovereign in order to receive a fat stack of Didulo's fake currency. Romana dollars. The group has held similar events across the country. The group has been bringing in chain link fencing, portable toilets, and other materials to aid with the event. The idea of their town being inundated, more than it already has, with people who believe a small woman living in an RV is a divine being, has understandably put some town folks on edge. Many of the town's worries arise from a cease and desist order sent by Didulo's followers that threatened the recipients with publicly broadcast executions if they don't stop their Rothschild/CCP-based communistic, unfair, demoralizing, and immoral activities. The letters were sent not by Didulo, but by her followers, who have made a habit of sending similar notes to people who have angered them.
Wow. Meanwhile, the cult itself is also ramping up the paranoia in a way that seems like it might not end well. Apparently, some horrible people are claiming to spread rat poison around the area where Princess and Comet, the royal puppies of Queen Romana Didulo, go do their business. Andi said in the live stream in reference to Didulo's 2 dogs, "There is a possible threat to Her Royal Majesty Queen Romana Didulo, her team, the volunteers, and the royal puppies. That the building we are currently working from may be set on fire," she added, referring to a Facebook post that joked about burning down the school to get rid of Didulo and her group. The group has asked for followers to come and stay with them to volunteer as security and announced that Canada is at DEFCON 1 threat level.
I hope nothing bad happens to the royal puppies.
They were innocent in all this. They had no choice.
They had no choice.
No.
So yeah, things are really ramping up with this. Once again, very, very glad that getting a gun up there is not as easy as it is down here.
Didulo had a weird diet too, didn't she? Speaking of
sardines,
weird diets,
she loves sardines.
Uh-huh.
I've never had a sardine.
I've had people, apparently there's a growing movement of people who enjoy canned fish. I've only ever had like canned salmon.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean, like tuna salad.
I guess. Sardines, I'm a child of the 80s. I am a product...
Sardines and anchovies?
Yes.
No thanks.
Yeah, I am a product of the entertainment industry telling me that was gross and I shouldn't have it.
I have had anchovy on pizza. It's pretty popular in like Europe. And it was just extremely salty. I didn't like it just because it was so fucking salty.
Yeah.
The flavor is very strong.
Mm-hmm. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would never.
They would never.
No anchovies.
Anyway, moving on to an update about another recurring character, a guy that we kind of assumed was dead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, all signs pointed to that for the past couple of months.
Lord Miles, real name Miles Rutledge, the shitposting 24-year-old YouTuber who first gained fame after visiting Afghanistan as a tourist right as the U.S. was withdrawing its troop presence and allowing the Taliban to take control of the country. A great time to visit. Mm-hmm. Lord Miles was able to get out of Afghanistan, just barely, and reactions to his stunt ranged from admiration for his bravery to denunciations of his needlessly dangerous behavior, putting a strain on already difficult evacuation efforts. What are you doing? Yeah. Anyways, for whatever reason, the only lesson that Lord Miles took from the ordeal was that going to Afghanistan is a great way to go viral online. It's content. Mm-hmm. So he went back, and his second trip didn't go quite so well. He got arrested and hasn't been heard from in a while. Here's Vice.
The Taliban released 4 British nationals from captivity in Afghanistan, including edgelord shitposter Lord Miles Rutledge. Rutledge is infamous as a self-proclaimed war tourist who first gained notoriety when he barely escaped Afghanistan during the U.S. withdrawal in 2021. The BBC broke the story of Rutledge's release on October 10th, and the UK's Home Office confirmed it. Rutledge was released alongside 2 unnamed British citizens and UN aid worker Kevin Cornwell, a 54-year-old man with health problems. Mr. Cornwell and the 3 other British nationals, which includes Miles Rutledge, have been released and have left Afghanistan, Scott Richards, the co-founder of the Presidium Network, a nonprofit that supported some of the captured people, said on Twitter. They are coming home. Thank you to everyone for their support of these men during this difficult period. We are all relieved.
So yeah, on his second trip in January of this year, Lord Miles was very quickly arrested by the Taliban and remained arrested for 10 months until this week. And as we previously discussed, at least one of the 3 other British nationals being held by the Taliban was there doing like aid work. Was there for a very good reason. So it had to be extremely annoying for that guy to be locked up with some dipshit kid who came to Afghanistan purely for online clout.
I can't even imagine the conversations.
You did what?
Yeah.
And that aid worker also was dealing with serious health issues, and his time in Taliban custody was surely prolonged by Lord Miles providing himself as another hostage for the Taliban to use as a bargaining chip. Anyway, a big reason a lot of people assumed Lord Miles was dead at this point was that his official Twitter account has been posting outlandish claims about his time in Afghanistan that were very hard to believe. Here's Vice on that.
After Lord Miles went into an Afghan prison, speculation about his condition spread on the internet. His Twitter account, @RealLordMiles, fueled the speculation with increasingly bizarre claims about Rutledge's life behind bars, including that he lives in luxury. The account claimed that the Taliban loved Miles, thought he was goofy, and enjoyed his book. The Taliban are happy with international business in their country, so Miles has had regular picnics and dinners with higher-ups discussing business plans and the gold mine. As he got arrested with $1,300 in his pocket, he basically lives in luxury, the account said on September 27th. Ordering takeaway, can buy movies at the market to put on his laptop, has all his business docs, has got the new TF2 update, and is pulling off some stunts. At first, like all of you, I was worried he was struggling in some bad place, but then he described how the Taliban liked the Titanic movie and Rambo 3. If he wants eggs, his servants buy him eggs, the account continued. If he doesn't like a dish, he gets pizza. When we called him, he said, "Lovely holiday." The account said Miles planned to write another book and open a gold mine in Afghanistan.
Okay, see, this is obviously likely an exaggeration at the very least. But it also wouldn't be surprising if it's at least partially true that they treated him well as a prisoner. The whole reason he was being held captive was as a diplomatic bargaining chip for the UK. It makes sense that they wouldn't want to damage the goods. The point is, he could have very easily avoided being a diplomatic bargaining chip for an extremist government if he had simply listened to every travel advisory in existence and not traveled there as a fucking tourist. And honestly, the Brits, they should honestly take this dude's passport away at this point, because you know he learned absolutely nothing, and you know that he's already planning his next trip, and they couldn't have picked a worse fucking time to let this war tourist out of his cell in Afghanistan and set him free.
My theory, which is completely wrong and totally inaccurate, just to put that out there, but my theory is that he was so annoying, such a weird person, that the Taliban was like, it's actually worse punishment to send him back to the UK.
Yeah, he's their problem now.
Yes.
Maybe.
But let's move on now to a type of story we see time and time again. People faking it until they make it, in careers that normally require years of schooling and certification. Usually it's fake doctors like the GOAT, Malachi Love Robinson, but this time we're getting a little bit of variety thanks to some news out of Kenya. And we haven't been able to find rock-solid sourcing on this story, nor are we well-versed on which Kenyan news outlets are reliable. So, grain of salt, anchovies on this story. We are choosing to believe this man, Brian Mwenda, did in fact pretend to be a lawyer and ended up somehow being really, really good at his fake job.
I want to believe. Here's Kenyan outlet The Star. An alleged Nairobi fake lawyer was on Thursday detained by authorities on claims that he falsely presented himself as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Reports indicate that the lawyer had battled 26 cases before High Court judges, magistrates, and courts of appeal judges before his arrest, and he won all of them. He was arrested by the Law Society of Kenya Nairobi Branch Rapid Action Team, RAT, over the claims of false pretense.
Their thing is really rat?
Yeah, rat. He was apprehended when Rat received public complaints. So, okay, again, we don't know how much, we don't really know anything about Kenya. Although I did find like TV news reports from Kenya talking about this, so it seems legit. Okay. But the High Court of Kenya, it seems to be their equivalent of the U.S. Supreme Court. So this guy wasn't just arguing cases down at the local courthouse. He was working on cases that require interpretation of the Constitution. He was arguing before Clarence Thomas, essentially, and doing great. He won them all. This man is, some people are just born with great legal minds.
He might not have the education on paper, but he's got the spirit.
Yeah, and with doctors, you know, it's hard to get behind it. It's like you could kill someone.
Yes.
But with law, it's like, if you're good at it, the results speak for themselves.
Well, there could be catastrophic results, but...
But clearly, this man knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He might be the greatest lawyer to ever live, at least in Kenya.
Well, we'll see. As for how Brian Mwenda pulled this off for so long, the Law Society of Kenya looked into it and found that he basically stole the identity of another lawyer, also named Brian Mwenda, and used it to create an online account with the Law Society and used that to apply for a certificate to practice law. The other Brian Mwenda didn't notice this for a full year because he was working for the Attorney General and not actually practicing law, but in September, he decided on a slight career change and tried to register to practice law and found that his account had been compromised. Anyways, as you can imagine, there have been lots of calls online for the fake lawyer to be allowed to continue practicing law, given that he's clearly pretty good at it despite having no formal legal training.
Let him practice law.
Sure.
Let him practice. He's good at it.
You're going to take away one good thing?
Yeah.
This person has dedicated their life to.
He clearly found his purpose. Sorry he wasn't like rich and connected enough to go to law school, but clearly he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. It wouldn't... It'd be really funny if he was just using ChatGPT this whole time. So like...
Uh-oh.
Although...
Oh my God. We didn't cover it in yesterday's show, and I had it in the links, but did you see... Well, we couldn't show it anyway. We literally can't show it. It's literally copyright. But did you see the Disney Plus show that used CGI background actors, but they look like they were rendered on a PS2?
No.
And they're close-up shots. It's like a team on a bench in a basketball game, and right behind them is like old Sims characters like this. It looks so bad. So
what show was it?
Unapologetic. I don't know, some kids show for Disney Plus.
Oh, well, they're kids. They're stupid. They don't know what people look like.
But, there are background actors out there that probably would have liked to have gotten paid to do something like that.
That's funny.
It is wild. It is not just like a huge crowd shot where it's like, okay, you can't really notice it. It is very bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we move on to the headlines half of the show, we got to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Factor. With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle.
With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality that you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. Then get back to crushing those goals. Relish the best of autumn with fall flavors. They're limited time only, hearty, comforting meals featuring seasonal veggies like cranberry pecan chicken and apple Dijon pork chops, ready in just 2 minutes. They'll satisfy your fall cravings during the busy season without the hassle. And again, for real this time, I had a meal this week that was incredible. It was like a sage chicken with a like caramelized apple side.
Wow.
Very, very good.
The taste of fall. Round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with an assortment of 45 plus add-ons to suit various preferences and tastes. Choose from breakfast items like their delicious apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites, and potato, bacon, and egg breakfast skillet. Or, for an easy wellness boost, try refreshing beverage options like cold-pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. This October, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/weeklyweird50 and use code weeklyweird50 to get 50% off. That's code weeklyweird50 at factormeals.com/weeklyweird50 to get 50% off.
All right, now into the craziest, weirdest, wildest headlines from around the world this week, starting with man riding farm vehicle arrested for second DUI 17 minutes after release from first DUI arrest.
It's got to be a record.
Did he leave the station on the farm equipment?
It sounds like this was a pretty small town, so they got him drunk driving on his tractor in the middle of the night too. He was not doing work. He was driving his tractor around drunk. That's
the loophole.
And they let him go, and he walked out. And 17 minutes later, they got a call like, "You're not gonna believe this. He's back on that fucking trailer."
Yeah, well, you could probably hear it, especially at night, too. Just like, wait, did I just hear a large tractor just...
Yeah, it's distinctive. And it was an old tractor as well. It was from like the 70s.
I mean, I get it.
Loud as hell.
Diesel is cheaper than unleaded gasoline right now.
And it's got that sweet smell.
Yeah, he's got, like, look, you're going to take the truck, the F-250 Super Duty, and waste all that gas? Or are you going to use the diesel-powered tractor, the John Deere?
Yeah, you don't understand, officer. It's actually not drunk driving if it's a farm vehicle. That's only true for
the ethanol you're smelling
cars.
Is the fuel that I'm burning.
That's right. That's right. I got this thing rigged up to burn cooking oil, so
I'm free to go.
I'm free to go. I'll see you soon.
You know, cops, they can't legally detain you if you say I'm free to go.
Yeah, they also can't give you 2 DUIs in 17 minutes because that's double jeopardy.
That's right.
Yeah. So I hope the Supreme Court sees this man's case. Well, I've got just the lawyer for him.
Yes, he's going to come all the way from Kenya.
A 104-year-old dies peacefully in her sleep 1 week after world record skydive.
Hey, look. Bucket list completed.
That's the thing, though. I was like, that's so cool. Like, she got to experience that. No, this was her second time skydiving. she did it when she turned 100. And I guess she's like, wow, I didn't expect to live another 4 years, so
Might as well do it again.
let's do it again.
Good for her.
So, yeah, they're double bucket list, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she set the record.
You think on the way down she was like, I'm about to feel this, but the opposite direction.
I don't know.
Straight up to heaven.
I've never skydove.
I've always wanted to, but just never done it.
I don't think I ever will.
We're getting up there. Both of us might have heart attacks if we do it. I don't know.
Anything involving heights.
Old ladies are built different.
I don't like heights.
Old women, they've spent decades drinking mimosas. Their heart is ready for any extreme sport. It's been through the ringer.
They've conditioned themselves.
Mm-hmm. I would like to try it. Maybe before too long.
Well, when you're 104 years old,
we'll get the show to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Black Bear walks into a gas station, takes a pack of gummy bears, and leaves. Absolutely not. You will not sell.
This is my culture.
My culture.
Am I a joke to you?
It's not your snack.
Am I a joke to you? You're gonna eat little versions of me? No, these are mine.
Yeah. That bear is gonna have some serious digestive problems.
Depends on whether they're sugar-free bears.
Oh yeah.
You remember
the giant gallon pack of it?
Yeah, the bucket of sugar-free Haribo bears that they sold on American Amazon.
With the reviews?
Yeah, with just like a bunch of like chemicals that are probably illegal like everywhere else. But yeah, just every single review is just like, I have been blasting ass for the last like 24 hours. Like after eating like one bear.
Yeah.
Just instant evacuation.
It's a great live science experiment, the Amazon reviews. You got the gummy bears, and then you can tell the changing of the winds with COVID whenever there's negative reviews piling up on
These
candle
candles
cells.
smell like nothing.
That happened again like 3 weeks ago. People were like, uh-oh, the bad reviews are back. There's another COVID wave.
Yeah, it's like the Waffle House hurricane threshold. It's, the Yankee Candle Amazon reviews page.
Yeah.
Should change the threat level to red.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed? This has probably been going on for a long time, but it was because I got my mom some, I was like, this probably won't work, but I'll get you this little air conditioner for where she works. And I go on there and I'm like, oh, this is great reviews. Let's just see if it works. Sent it to her. Obviously it didn't fucking work. It's like you have to stand right in front of it. But and I scroll down. I'm like, well, why were these reviews all so good? It was for a completely different product. They had literally just swapped. It was like some nonsensical. It was like ice cube trays or something. And they switched the SKU, whatever this company that was running the page did, so that they had built-in reviews. And I guess because of the time of the year, because of summer, they're like, oh, this, we'll switch it to this AC thing. So it had built-in reviews.
So much fucking bullshit on Amazon. You can't trust anything.
And just so you know, the personal air conditioning does not work.
No. I mean,
my poor old mother still just sitting in a sweltering shack.
AC as a concept, it only works if there's a way to direct the heat exhaust away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it keeps the temperature. It actually creates heat. It creates more heat than cool air.
Yeah, I think the one DIY thing you can do is the bucket of ice with the fan.
Yeah, that's not AC though.
Well, it'll work in a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parents outraged after teacher accidentally shows Winnie the Pooh slasher film to fourth graders in Miami Springs.
At what point did they look at the film and say, "Oh, I think we might have the wrong one"?
Okay, Netflix stuck. They put it on. Well, they put it on during lunch, and the teachers just like, "All right, Netflix, Winnie the Pooh. All right, beep bop boop. All right, see you later, kids. I'm going to the teachers' lounge to smoke with all the other teachers." And it was running for about 20 minutes.
Jesus.
They said there was only one scene with a bunch of gore. But,
okay. Well, this is why, the copyright holder, this is on purpose. This is actually...
Yeah, this is propaganda in favor of extending copyrights indefinitely. I bet Disney's behind this.
It's probably, yeah. They sent some reps down from Orlando. They said, hey, we got a little experiment we want to try out.
Yeah.
We need to get the rights to Winnie the Pooh back.
Otherwise, look what they're doing. They're traumatizing our kids.
Poisoning the minds of children.
Yeah.
Well, did the kids like it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, probably a few of them did.
I think I was watching horror movies by fourth grade.
Fourth grade? How old is that? 10?
Fuck, I don't know. I'm so old, I don't know.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd definitely seen the Leprechaun movies or something by then.
Yeah. I mean,
Just a peek into my twisted mind.
there's definitely kids that probably didn't mind it. But there's definitely probably other sheltered kids who are, this is the craziest fucking thing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Arizona dad strips down to crop top and shorts at board meeting to protest school dress code.
God, parents just cannot be normal.
No.
This dress code, it's turning everyone here into freaks. And to demonstrate how I, a normal person, feel about this, I'm gonna do a little striptease in here, and I've got my Daisy Dukes and my crop top on. See, not so good, is it? Really makes you think.
Some serious main character energy.
And then the school board just went ahead and voted to keep the dress code in place. So
thank you for the perfect
all for
example.
nothing. Yeah, thank you for that spectacle, sir. But we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. Yep. Actually, also, do you even have kids at this school? We have to ask at this point. Get a lot of people coming to these meetings, putting on a big show. Turns out they don't have kids in our school district. They don't even fucking live here. Mm-hmm. It's just their fetish to go to school board meetings and be weird.
Yeah.
I'm only happy when I'm screaming at my local school board meeting.
Put that on a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. Try that in a small town.
Oh, they do. They do it often.
That's the only place they do it usually.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve says Taylor Swift's Eras Tour boosted the economy. One market research firm estimates she could add $5 billion.
Taylor Swift is keeping this economy afloat.
Yeah,
We would be in a recession if not for Taylor.
Literally has an effect on the entire U.S. economy.
And this Travis Kelce thing, like keeping,
the NFL afloat.
Yeah, keeping the NFL, like their viewership numbers, I'm sure, much higher than normal.
And she didn't go to the game last weekend, and you know what happened? He suffered an injury.
Yeah, see, that's
I don't think it's a serious one.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, now he has plenty of time. Him and who's the guy that from New York who broke his foot on the first game?
I'm blanking on the spot.
He was in Green Bay.
Yeah, the Packers guy.
I'm drawing a blank, but
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know why I was blanking.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But anyway,
they can have their little feud.
They can have their vaccine debate.
Aaron Rodgers, being like, oh, let's get Fauci out here, a guy who's retired and
he's 85 years. Why would he ever possibly do that?
Also, I don't think it's gonna get the results that you want because it's just gonna be like, no, you stupid idiot. Go drink bleach like all your friends, you weirdo.
Yeah. Who the fuck wants to watch a vaccine debate in 2023? I feel like everyone's kind of made up their mind at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, good for Taylor Swift, I guess.
Saving the local economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She needs to
and the movie is just dominating the box office already.
Keeping all the theater chains afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say.
I thought the world was gonna implode. Beyonce showed up to the premiere with Taylor Swift.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Then the economy just keeps rising.
I know. Thank you.
Joe Biden's going to take all the credit, but it really should go to Taylor, and she should be our president.
Until the inevitable crash because of all of the credit card interest that people use to get this.
Well, the great thing about credit card debt is you can just
ignore it.
You can just ignore it indefinitely.
One little trick.
It'll never catch up with you.
Banks hate it.
Police in Mexico arrest and handcuff Chucky doll after series of robberies.
Our work here is done.
We got him.
Yep.
Yeah, they. I guess it was just some drunk dude with a Chucky doll with a knife taped to its hand, scaring people and being like, "Give me money." But yeah, they arrested the guy, and then the police, they had a little bit of fun. They took a mugshot of the doll and put it in handcuffs, and then those cops got reprimanded for it.
Sure.
But they had a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Like, look, we arrested this doll.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah.
In America, we're just gonna end up with a police shooting one of the clowns that pops up every Halloween.
Haven't been any clowns this year.
No, there was sightings this year. Or at least someone's trying to get it going again. That's why.
Not now.
It happened once, you'll never be able to recreate it.
Yeah.
Much like the Barbie Oppenheimer situation. You can't bottle that up.
Force it.
Yeah. It's lightning only strikes once with things like this. Pilot accused of throwing tomatoes from plane pleads not guilty to stalking New York woman by air. That really took a turn. I thought it was just going to be a fun little story about throwing tomatoes.
Nope. He was taking up his little tiny plane, stalking her from the air and throwing tomatoes out the back, like the way they used to, like the way that planes drop bombs in like World War I. Just literally manually
looking down through a tube.
We'll light this up and drop it. Doing that from the plane.
Yeah.
obviously horrible for this woman. I mean, being stalked is bad enough.
Being stalked from the air.
Being stalked from the air, that's something else.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pleaded not guilty. I guess we're in for a long court case here.
Yeah.
But,
put this on the TV.
I mean, and also I feel like a tomato dropped from cruising altitude. That's gonna do some damage.
Depends on the tomato.
If it's not,
I feel like
if it's not ripe yet.
At terminal velocity, it would just explode no matter what. But it would definitely hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
It would be really funny.
It would hurt, and then you wouldn't know what's blood and what's tomato.
It would be funny if these were just cherry tomatoes.
I mean,
Blunk. What the hell was that?
Those are tomatoes.
Yeah.
Crocs to launch cowboy boot design complete with spurs.
I'm so sad that you brought this up here because I was going to buy these as a surprise for you to wear down to the country night at the venue.
No.
The venue that we go to.
These are ridiculous.
No, you'd look great in them.
No.
Yeah.
These are so silly.
If you're not going to wear them, I will.
You get them for yourself.
Yeah, I got my bolo tie and my Crocs boots.
This is the Crocs. It's so weird. Like when Crocs first came out like 20 years ago, it was just like, oh, these are for like old people with arthritis.
Yeah.
Like, and little kids.
Yeah, they need shoes to wear while gardening that like helps their plantar fasciitis.
Like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but somewhere along the way, they became like streetwear.
Yeah.
And
they got the
so weird.
gibbets or whatever, the little things you can add to them.
Yeah, little charms.
Yeah, well, I have my Margaritaville Crocs. I wore them obviously when Jimmy Buffett died.
Yeah,
out of respect.
Out of respect.
But they came with I don't have it anymore. Well, I have them somewhere, but they came with a shot glass, a bunch of limes, and then on the other side was a functioning parrot head bottle opener as a gibbet. I took all those off. I do wear them sometimes. They are comfy, but I don't wear them out in public though. I wear them to like take the trash out.
Well, you got to get these cowboy boots because
I was thinking about it.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I need to get you a video. You need to get a video of me getting out of my truck with the cowboy boots.
Also, I feel like it kind of defeats the entire purpose of Crocs, which is comfort. These things,
I'm sure they're comfortable.
I don't know. Having them take up your whole
They have that soft foam.
Yeah, I guess.
And they got the spurs, so, they get the horses going.
Yeah, if you need to give your... Aren't, like, actual spurs, like, highly illegal at this point? Or at least frowned upon?
I don't know. I don't know enough about horse
I don't think
riding.
anyone's using spurs. I feel like we would see that.
The dozen or so times that I've ridden a horse, I obviously did not wear spurs, but I still felt bad. I was riding the horse.
I mean, they're like, kick him.
Yeah.
Give him a kick.
I stopped.
I don't want to.
I stopped doing it because I felt bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to just like see what I want to try things with my life, and I was like, I want to ride a horse.
Yeah.
And so I did it a couple times.
You assume it's just like self-driving, but no, it's not.
There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of that is kicking a horse in the chest.
Yeah. I mean, I think they can handle it, but it's still, you don't feel good about it.
It was good though, because when I did a horse tour after that, they let me open it up. Like if you know how to drive a fast car, and they let you kind of do what you want with it.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I rode it on a beach, like Fabio, just brum, 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 brum.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was great.
Anyway, final headline. Russia calls on Israel and Palestinians to cease fire. Don't remember asking you a damn thing.
Yeah.
But also, that this is so fucking...
Clearly manipulative.
The world is completely upside down because, yes, this is clearly... This should not be taken at face value, but the statement that Russia released is actually, I'm just like, no fucking lies detected. They're like, the U.S. And the international community need to come together to like broker a ceasefire and negotiations for, drawing down on the violence. I'm like, yeah, that's literally what needs to fucking happen. And
from the wrong country saying that.
Also, I don't know if you know this, Russia. You are currently in the midst of a ongoing war that has also resulted in just so much needless death. Yeah. So maybe fuck off.
Yeah.
But speaking of Palestine, before we go, we do need to talk about the fundraiser that is running on this video and our two previous ones to raise money for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. Mm-hmm. We already said kind of everything we need to say about the situation in Israel and Gaza and where we stand on it in our video earlier this week. But since then, shit's gotten worse. The Gaza Strip has had literally thousands of bombs dropped on it. And as of when we're filming this on Friday, more than 1 million people in North Gaza were under an order to evacuate within 24 hours, which is not only logistically impossible, but people who have managed to try to leave have had bombs fucking dropped on them for doing exactly what they were told to do. It's just a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
The UN
the United Nations is like,
released a
this
statement.
is not possible. Please don't do this.
Joe Biden, after a week of, I am giving him the benefit of the doubt, unintentionally spreading misinformation, is now being like, maybe we should
we should calm down.
Yeah, it has been an insane week.
Everyone who's kind of pulling not a 180, but maybe a 90 right now everyone was yelling at them 5 days ago. It's like, you know where this is going.
Yes.
You know where this is going unless you really put your fucking foot down. And sure enough, here we fucking are.
Emotions are extremely high, but the bloodthirst isn't going to help anyone.
No.
And it has been one of the worst weeks for graphic violence on the internet, is worst weeks for misinformation and disinformation on the internet. People, seemingly normal, rational people, losing their goddamn minds.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty much at this, I've avoided the gore, but I'm pretty much desensitized to it at this point, like many millennial children who grew up with the internet.
Yeah.
What is really, like, disheartening me is just seeing people kind of saying just really inhumane shit and not having any sort of self-reflection about it. It's just a very ugly side of humanity that's on display.
And as we talked about in the video that we covered on this, with the very strange, celebrities sharing images that they
look
purport
what's happening
to be,
in Israel. It's like, that's actually a picture of Palestine. Like, all right, well,
I'm just going to delete and never say anything.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber notably shared something like that.
Yeah.
It's been infuriating, maddening. Obviously, again, I guess we have to be clear one more time. Like, what happened last weekend was horrific. That we're talking about the innocent civilians on both sides that need to be taken care of. And in Palestine, that is very difficult because even their hospitals are getting bombed, and the aid workers on the ground there have a lot less resources.
Yeah.
Electricity is being shut off, water, and other things. The situation is and will continue to result in the massive loss of innocent life. And even when the dust settles, an overwhelming amount of people, including nearly half of Gaza's population that are children, will need hospitalization. Sending foreign aid to Gaza can be really tricky due to the blockade, but the Palestine Children's Relief Fund is one of the foreign charities that's able to do so. They've been providing free medical care to Palestine for over 30 years and are very highly rated by third parties like Charity Navigator. They're also thankfully already listed as a charity on YouTube. So if you would like to help out, we would really appreciate it if you could chip in. Before we even added this to the previous videos, I had donated to this fund. And so it was very good to see that YouTube was making it available.
Yeah, that was, because like with the Maui thing, I had to manually ask them to unlock the charity. So yeah, it was good that this was already listed. But if you'd like to help out in any way that you can, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Sorry to leave on a sour note, but we do have other stuff that you can watch. Please make sure you like the video, leave a comment, reply to a comment, treat each other with grace and respect down there. And please check out our other videos. Like the video. There you go. Said it again. We have videos over here. We have a recent episode. George Santos, he's
stealing babies now. We'll talk about it next week, maybe.
Yeah, he barged out screaming today. There was a whole scene. But anyways, if you want caught up on the George Santos stuff, we have a video on that, among other things. And, of course, a video from earlier in the week. We'll be back next week for more videos, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.